We're going to start reading in Genesis chapter 46, verses 29 and 30. And Joseph made ready his chariots and went up to meet Israel his father to Goshen, and presented himself unto him. And he fell on his neck and wept on his neck a good while. And Israel said unto Joseph, Now let me die, since I have seen thy face, because thou art yet alive. Israel in these verses is another name for Jacob, and these verses are showing the reunification of a father with his son who has been missing for 20 years. And what an emotionally charged day this was for a reuniting of a father and son. This day is what the son had hoped would always come. And this day, the father never dreamt it would ever be a reality. Because early on in this missing person's case, he believed his son to be dead. He believed that the missing person case had been solved. But today I'm going to share with you 2 prayers that you can pray. The first prayer is pray for wisdom and discernment regarding evidence or facts of the case. You know, you're not going to hear me say that I know what you're going through. If you have a friend or a family member that is involved in a missing person's case, I wouldn't even begin to imagine what your reality is like. Jacob in this story knew exactly what that was like. And when we study this missing person case, this first prayer of praying for wisdom and discernment regarding the evidence and facts of this case is very important to do, because Jacob, he was so quick to believe the evidence of this case. When this missing persons case happened, the last time he saw his son Joseph he was sending him out on an errand. Jacob was doing everything he was supposed to be doing. Joseph was doing everything he was supposed to be doing. But we can never control the perpetrator's actions. The perpetrators are responsible for those actions, not us. And when Jacob said goodbye to his son that morning to run an errand, he never knew that would be the last time that he would see his son. And so when he never came back home that night, there was a missing persons case that he filed. And there was a search and rescue team out on the grounds. And in this search and rescue team, there was evidence that was found during the search and rescue. Evidence that was brought to the father. You may be like, well, where's the mother in this case? Well, the mother had died. So Jacob actually had 3 other families. And this family of he and his wife, they had 2 sons. The oldest son was Joseph, and the younger son was Benjamin. And his wife had died giving birth to their younger son, Benjamin. And so the evidence is presented to the father. And what the evidence is they find an article of clothing. So trusted sources brought this evidence to the father. And the father recognized it. Yeah, this is Joseph's. But what was really true about this was that There was blood on the coat, and so the father believed that Joseph had been killed by wild animals, and that his body, we would never find his body. That's what he believed. And so, really just thinking about how this evidence that is brought could be twisted. And it was twisted. The blood on the coat was not Joseph's. The blood on the coat was from wild animals. But the thing is, Joseph was never around wild animals that day. He was only around humans, never wild animals. And so it was twisted. The people that brought this trusted source, that brought this evidence to him, were the very people that knew everything about what happened to his son that day. And they had everything to do with, and this missing person case was not a runaway. This was a teenage abduction, trafficked into the underworld. And that trusted source that presented the evidence were the ones that were behind this missing person case. And so what they were doing to the parent is they were creating this illusion that they were bringing not the kind of closure a parent wants, right? But a closure that would give the illusion that this missing person case has been solved. And so you don't need to continue a search and rescue. You don't need to continue news and media outlets out searching for your son Joseph because he's dead. But the parent never sees a body. It's only this bloody coat. And so this trusted source that presented this evidence to this parent, the trusted source doesn't want any more search and rescues. They don't want to risk being found out about they were the true perpetrators behind this teenage abduction. The second prayer to pray is pray for your paths to cross. The parent had believed that his son was dead. The son had actually experienced a miracle. He had gotten free from being trafficked, from living in the underworld. And he was living a life as a free man. He never goes back home. And the reason he doesn't go back home is because he knows the truth about what happened. He knows the perpetrators that were behind his abduction, behind him being trafficked. And these were people that he trusted. These were people that he trusted to be alone with. And when the last time he was alone with them, they drastically changed the trajectory of his life. And the people I'm talking about, the trusted source that presented this false evidence to the parent and had everything to do with his teenage abduction, was family members, was Joseph's half-brothers. And so you may be wondering, well, Jennifer, if he never went back home to see his dad, how did this come about, this reunification? God provided a way, a situation for them to be reunited. And this story is very compelling. It is in Genesis chapters 37 through 50. And I pray that when you read about this story of this missing person's case, that it will bring you truths to your case. That is my spiritual food for you to munch on the rest of the week. I can't wait to see you next time.